All right, what's going on, guys? We got my boy Chris here, my business partner. Today we're going to take a couple of questions from Instagram, going over business questions and also obviously training questions as we do our upper body workout. So follow along, let's do this.
Love the whole workout right there.
Yeah, man. So as you can see, he's a very lean type of individual, maybe a little thin on the thin side.
Against what today, though?
He's getting bigger, though. He's getting bigger. So me and Chris have known each other for what, 4 or 5 years now, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And we've helped grow Daru Strong to where it is now. So today I wanted everybody to get to know Chris, but also find out some more details on all the other things that we have planned for you guys. But in the meantime, we're gonna go over these questions and get this workout in at the same time. So the first one was, how do you actually start a business? Like how do you go about starting a business? How do you go about like putting it all together, LLC, whatever? Let's go ahead and tell them.
I mean, I think the very first thing is like when it comes to starting a business is start the business. Like, you know, you gotta, like people spend a lot of time really thinking about what they need to do and all those type of things, but the reality is that you learn by doing it. You know, like from a young age, like I learned to cut hair, I learned to video edit, Photoshop, I learned to run a company. So many people, they say they wanna start a drop shipping store, they wanna start, you know, doing some type of online marketing, but they spend so much time thinking about it that they never actually get started. Really, the truth is you're gonna figure out everything as you go along, but when you run into that problem, figure it out. How are you gonna, how are you gonna solve it, And to execute on things really quickly. If your goal is to build a website, don't give yourself any longer than 1 to 2 days maximum to get that website up. It really shouldn't take that long when you really sit down and knock out a work session. So, I say when it comes to starting a business, it comes down to, just hopping on the horse and getting started. I mean, it is the biggest thing that I would say. What about you?
Absolutely, same thing. I mean, if you want to start doing something, you better start planning out accordingly. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to start somewhere. So really important, good information here. Now let's get onto these dumbbells and see what this bird chest does for him. So when it comes down to different books, because we get this a lot, like as far as what should I read, what should I look for, what articles should I look up, what YouTube videos should I look up, what are some of the key information places that you go to look for business orientated stuff?
The one thing I say is when it comes to reading books, I think one of the mistakes that people make is they always want to go and buy the hardcover version of the book, and they convince themselves that they're going to read this book from front to end. And 99% of people that I talk to that do this never ever read the book, because the whole reason why you're reading the book is to find the information that's within that book. So I always love to use Audible and to listen to the books. Certain books I might buy so that way I can make highlights and notes in, but I'm always listening to it on Audible. And when it comes down to the books, some of the books that I recommend, $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi, How to Get and Stay Motivated by Grant Cardone, The Secret, which is about the law of attraction, whether or not you believe in the woo-woo stuff or not, at the end of the day, it's gonna put you in a mindset to chase after your dream and after your goal. Unleash the Power Within by Tony Robbins. One more book that I'll give you guys is The Science of Getting Rich. This was a book that actually Elliot Hulse gave me, and it was one of the coolest books because it had all of his notes in it. It was a book that was given to him by one of his mentors. And he had all these notes about the dreams that he wanted to accomplish one day. And I got to meet him after he had already accomplished those goals. So when I was sitting there reading that book, and this book is about, attracting all of these things to you. And that's a really good book. I probably have read it maybe 20, 30 times in my life, just consistently listening to it. So I highly recommend some of those books.
So the goal here is we're working on hypertrophy. So we want about 3 seconds on an eccentric. So 3 seconds down. 1 second pause, and then 1 second up. Okay, so it's a 3-1-1 tempo. Yeah. All right, you start right there. So as you're coming down, you're squeezing your shoulder blades together, and then as I come up, I'm just driving all the way through, and let your scap kind of roll. Yeah. Like don't sit it back. It's not a powerlifting movement, right? We're trying to get full range of motion. So all the way up and all the way back down. stretching. So you're gonna pull your hand here and open up the chest. So you're just open and look that way. Just hold for about 10 seconds and then switch it.
Yeah, so one person wants to know what's your opinion on the upcoming Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury fight? Who do you have in that fight? And I know you've been training one of Jake Paul's sparring partners for a while, right?
I trained him a couple times. Pretty boy. Yeah, Anthony. So I'm actually gonna be at that fight in Tampa. We're gonna be at that fight. I think Jake is very. He's good. He's like a solid amateur fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He does all the general things really good. I mean, he also has to work on his head movement. He has to work on his ability to evade punches, not just going straight back. He has to be able to fight in the pocket. And those are things that he needs to improve upon if he really wants to take it to the next level. As far as Fury goes, I think if Fury pushes the pace on him, and we talked about this, if he stays aggressive and pushes him back, you know, and creates his angles to where he can't lean up against the ropes, kind of like how Jake loves to do. He gets him in the corner. It's gonna be a very hard night for Jake. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, when you watch the Tyron versus Jake fight, I mean, the entire time Jake was mostly kind of moving back, but you know, he was, you know, able to still pick him, but he wasn't really using his guard at all. And I think that if Tommy Fury comes in and he applies pressure, it didn't really seem like Jake really knew how to use his guard and to be able to counter off of that. So I think that if Tommy goes in there, I mean, for me personally right now, I think that Tommy's gonna take the W, but I mean, we'll see. I think we're gonna actually vlog us going out there that night, so we'll see what happens.
Well, I know a lot of fighters and I work with a lot of legit fighters that are a little bit pissed, to say the least, about that whole situation. But at the same time, you really can't get mad at the kid for doing what he needs to do. When we look at the lateral raise, like, you want to be able to fully stretch the fibers. So as I come in, I'm coming up and I'm leading with the elbow, right? Make sure as you come, you can get a little bit of a lean here. Get a full stretch on the medial delt, and then drive up with the elbow. Right? So come in.
Oh, I see what you mean. How did you get your first customer, your first client? Whoever it was, maybe it was one of your friends, or you know, how did that kind of start doing it for you?
I actually started training my teammates first. So as a professional fighter, actually I was an amateur at that time. With a degree and a certification, I was kind of like, man, I need to start working with people. But who was readily available was the people that I was training with myself. So I've always been able to train people, even when I didn't know too much about training. You know, this man behind the camera, we used to work out together all the time. You know, back when I was in high school, we would put together workouts, you know, all the time. You know, and then from there, you know, stuff got, you know, kept going on, and I got a job at a Snap Fitness, which is like a 24-hour fitness gym. And then I was able to make a little bit of money working with every walk of life. We're talking like, you know, 8-year-olds all the way up to I had a 65-year-old man at one point. And it gave me a wide variety and understanding how to train different types of individuals, which did me really well because it allowed my game to evolve, you know, not just be one track minded, and improve on levels of communication with different individuals, right, and also the ability to train those individuals with all those other compensations and injury histories, things like that, and health history that we have to take into account when you go into the training world. So yeah, I mean, it's really just who you have around you. And I didn't charge them, you know, for the most part. Like my teammates, obviously I trained them for free. Yeah. And then when I got the job, then I was able to charge them what I was worth at that time, which wasn't a whole lot because I didn't have a whole lot of experience. But now, you know, it's to the degree of the easiest thing for you to do is just to find your boys or find your friends, your training partners, and start working with them, start training them, start figuring out programs for them and yourself, and then you can start to go to other people and start to market yourself as such.
You have to build the confidence and be able to build the skills. You know, people try to hop into things and go like, oh, well, I want to charge this high rate. Well, it's like you don't even have the skill yet. So, you know, like in the very beginning, the most important thing that you can do and what you're really earning is the skill. So just by sitting there and, you know, training a client for free, you're really getting paid because you're paying yourself in the future by, you know, building a network of people that trust you, building a skill set for people to be able to want to work with you. Even when me and Phil started together, you know, there wasn't any money coming in. We were working in this for free and we built our way up and did that. So, you know, I agree definitely with Phil with what he said with that.
Yep. All right, so now we're going into a front raise here with cables. I like to use the rope in between the legs, coming straight up. As you come down, just still keep tension on the cable and drive up. All right, thumbs facing up. We're gonna do 10 reps here. Try not to rock back, obviously, right? Keep a nice, solid stance, neutral spine, lats are engaged, and then drive. All right, Chris, so I got one. Another person asked, how to grow your social media following? What you got for him?
I gotta finish this rep. Hold on.
You grab something. Come on, right there. Get to me.
It depends on what social media platform you're talking about, but it's all really the same. You want to start making content, and whichever type of content you're seeing is getting the most likes, the most views, double down on that type of content because that's clearly what they are engaging with. And any time that you see that your video is not performing or something along those lines, you have to blame yourself and figure out, what do I need to change in my content to engage with them better, to make them more interested, and really start to figure out those things. Now, the other thing that's really important as well is collaborating with others or also paying for different types of shout outs, you know? Like, so let's say you're doing combat sports, you know, finding pages on social media that you can pay that are going to shout out your brand using paid content. Everybody does it. Whatever it takes to be able to start bringing external traffic to your page, because what happens is now that you're making good content and now that you have the people engaging with it, and then you start to drive external forms of traffic, it starts to send it to more and more people, because the way that the algorithm works is, like, at first, let's say you make a post, it's gonna show it to 10% of the people. And if the first 10% that they show it to doesn't engage, they're not gonna continue to show it to more and more and more. But if you're making content that's good enough to make that 10% engage, they're gonna show it to more and more and more people. And then when you add in external traffic, your page will just start to grow. And the one thing that I always notice about all the different influencers that I've worked with over the years is that they do consistently drop content. I mean, like, Phil, from the day that I met him, he was always posting on social media. So, you know, everyone's at different places with it. Like, if you already are posting content, then and it's not working, you gotta figure out what's wrong with it. But if you're a person that hasn't even started yet, the very first thing you gotta do is start posting the content and figure out what's starting to work. And then you gotta look at the insights. Like, go through your Instagram, look at the insights on Instagram, see what's working, look through the insights on YouTube, and then your page will really start to grow from there.
Cross cable, overhead tricep extensions. We're gonna go ahead and giant set that. Go right into leg raises. So we'll jump up top, holding lat tightness, and then pulling the feet, not together, but apart, right? So we're gonna hit the hip flexors, hit the psoas, and then also obviously rectus. And then after that, we're gonna go wide raises, right? Up here, and pull them in and open them. So we got 5 here, and then 5 here, right? It's a giant set, and we're not gonna waste any time. So it's gonna be 15 seconds, 15 seconds, 15 seconds, and then rest for 30 seconds. So everything we do is like back to back to back, all right?
person asked, how do you target your ideal audience for the online training space? So, I mean, the very first thing is once you find your ideal audience, so like whatever niche that you're in, whether you are trying to teach people about real estate, whether you are trying to get more clients as a personal trainer, you know, the very first thing is first, are you even speaking to them properly? You know, for an example, like very small things is, you know, if I'm shooting a commercial or if I'm making an advertisement for personal training, I mean, simply just having a gym, you know, behind me instantly makes people know before they even watch it that, you know, this probably has something to do with personal training. So now right away, they're already more interested in looking, right? I'm already talking to my audience, because sometimes people can target their audience perfectly, but they're not speaking to them, they're not getting any sales, and they're not getting any new followers or anything like that. The next part is making sure that, you know, you catch their attention right away. For an example, like, hey, what's going on, guys? So if you are a personal trainer or someone who wants to learn how to make money online, check it out. You know what I mean? Right away, I'm letting you know within the first 2 to 3 seconds of the video what it's gonna be about, and I'm letting you know. So for the people that aren't interested, they can go away, and the audience that I'm interested in attracting, they're listening to me. But then from there, when it comes down to your targeting, you know, like if we're talking Facebook ads, you should be able to put in the keywords personal training. You should be able to put in the keywords fat loss. You should be able to put in the keywords like whatever it is. Sometimes people focus too much on their Facebook ad targeting and not enough on their messaging. You do need to make sure that you are finding the right demographic, but you also got to make sure that you know how to speak to that demographic, which will allow you to grow, which will allow you to get sales, and that's ultimately what it's really about.
Turn it over. You gotta stay there. One, two. Turn that foot over, don't lift it up. One, two. Good, all right? Jab. Jab. And then add the 1, 2 after that. Okay? Break it up though. Good. Jab. Woo, look at that. Turn it over. Turn it over. Go. Just one. Up. 1, 2, right? As you throw the 2, roll back underneath. So it's 1, right? Yeah. 1, 2, roll back. 2, 3. Yep, there you go. Good. Jeff. Good. Jeff. Jeff. Faster. Faster. Good. Okay. Feint. Jab. 2, 3. Do it again. 1, 2 is not stop. Go. Nice and light. Go. Back up. Jab. Good. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2. Ah, got him. All right.
Someone in the comments were asking, what are your thoughts on Conor saying that he wants to get a title shot next, no matter who it is?
Listen, man. Conor is a great fighter. He's done a lot for the sport. We all know that. He's a star, a superstar, not just in MMA, but in all sports in general, not just combat sports. But to say that he gets an immediate shot makes no sense at all. If anything, you know, with Gaethje coming back and winning that fight with Chandler, I think he obviously deserves a shot. There's a lot of guys in the top 5 of the lightweight division, which are all killers, that deserve that shot. But it's Dustin's time, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm biased towards that, but I feel that we will be on top, getting that strap wrapped around the waist come December 11th, and then after that, we'll see what's up. But Conor, you're gonna have to wait your turn a little bit more, at least from my opinion, you know. But, you know, nothing taken away from him. He's obviously a great fighter. You know, that is what it is. So another question asked was, Guy asked me if what is the major thing we focus on come fight week, and when do we usually cut weight training? Now, that really is dependent upon the individual. If the athlete is very versed in the weight room, they're very strong, then I can taper them off of weight training and strength training per se, roughly 3 weeks to 2 weeks out from the fight. If you do have an athlete that is strong, you can taper them obviously away from that. You can bring that out further away from the fight. If they're a little bit weaker and you need to maintain your strength, especially if they're fighting a grappler or something where they're gonna have to utilize their strength throughout the entire fight, we wanna make sure that they're still hitting some sort of strength work 10 days out from the fight, and then you're still gonna do some highly neural-driven exercises, whether that be jumps or sprints or something along that nature, to allow for them to still have that neural capacity to produce power through their strikes and their takedowns. So yeah, so it does depend, but the week of the fight, a lot of it is gonna be just kind of bringing down the stress levels, bringing down the cortisol, allowing their body to do the weight cut appropriately, and again, it's all about getting the game plan in order. So drilling, game planning, weight cut, that's the entire week of the fight.
Time, 30 seconds. So another question is, a lot of people...
He's still breathing heavy from the fucking pad work.
So a lot of people, they've been asking lately, you know, who's the best striker in MMA? You know, is it Israel Adesanya? Is it Anderson Silva? Is it Conor McGregor? You know, for you, who do you think the best striker is in all of MMA right now?
That's hard to say. So I can tell you boxers, I can tell you Muay Thai. Man, Anderson Silva obviously has shown that his abilities through his younger age all the way up until now, man.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of guys. I think Peter Yan is somebody that everybody should look out for, you know. I think Dustin obviously is in that running. When it comes down to striking, Conor's obviously in that running. So there's a bunch of guys, man. The best of the best is very hard to tell because everybody's good and not everybody's fighting everybody. You know what I'm saying? You got ONE FC, you got Bellator, and you got the UFC. Now you can make an argument that UFC is probably the top tier promotion, but I've seen guys in ONE FC, you know, the guys that come from the UFC that were champions go to ONE FC and they get beat, you know, and even in Bellator. But that's another argument in itself. But what I will say is that the guys that do have the best striking usually have the most elusive style, right? They're able to use the cage effectively. They're able to understand and come up with a strategy based on their opponent. So they're not just reactive, right? A lot of things that they're doing is second nature to a degree. So they have that unconscious competence to move inside the cage. Their ability to process the information and then utilize it almost like a chess match. You know, it's not checkers, it's chess. So you gotta be 3 steps ahead. Yeah. And the best strikers are able to do that.
Yeah, the one thing I'd say is like, I've seen a lot of people saying that like Max Holloway was potentially one of the best strikers. Conor was one of the best strikers, but I mean, you cannot...
Yeah, see, that's another thing. Like, there's so many good strikers out there. You can't really pinpoint one or the other. Like, obviously, yeah, Max is in the running too as well. So I can name like 10 of them.
But my thing against Max is that Max is a volume puncher, and he's able to deliver a lot of strikes, but his defense isn't really there, and he gets caught a lot inside of those fights. On top of that, Dustin Poirier beat Max, and Dustin Poirier also beat Conor. So that already eliminates those two right there. So for me, I mean, Dustin's right up there. So for me, it's up there with pretty much Israel Adesanya and Dustin Poirier. You know, those are definitely my top 2 strikers in combat sports and MMA right now for me.
There's a couple of them out there, some new ones too.
Yeah, people like you said, Peter Yan. You know what I mean? That's a really big one. I just think for him though, it's just like Conor. Like when Conor first took off, like he was winning a lot of those fights. But I mean, we just haven't seen Peter Yan like his entire. We'll see how well he does when he has another 10 fights underneath him.
I got somebody. Like Ian Gary, my boy Ian Gary, Shevchenko, my girl. What's her name?
We're going with the girls now.
I mean,
Going with the girls. All right, Amanda Nunes. Boom. All right, guys. So again, if you want to find out more details and information like this, go ahead and check out the Daru Strong conference that will be December 11th and the 12th. We're going over all things correlated to fitness business, but also we're doing some strength and conditioning things as well. So make sure you're here. I'm going over program design. We got Joe DeFranco here. We got Bo Hightower. We got my man Chris is gonna go over all the business stuff. So make sure that you're here. The VIP guests also get access to my man here to ask him any questions personally on their own.
For a whole month. We'll go through a whole month of training. We go do one-on-one sessions, and while you guys are here, we'll also be doing one-on-one sessions in the room. You'll also get a one-on-one session with Phil where you can ask him any questions related to strength and conditioning. He can help you with all of your clients and different things like that.
Cool. And we get to watch my man take the strap on the 11th. If you are a VIP guest, we'll be watching the fights here live. So if you want to come out to sunny South Florida and check us out, by all means, let's make it happen. Link is in the description now, so get on it.
Follow me on Instagram at Chris_Sassouni. Follow my man Devin. We'll put it right here. And then, make sure you guys subscribe to Phil.
Come on, man. If you haven't subscribed already, man, hit the notification if you have, though, for sure. Hit the bell, the bell. Smash the like button so to help the algorithms.
Yeah, put on the post notifications and drop a comment. What type of content do you want, to shoot next? Me and Phil, we're always trying to figure out what type of content that you guys want. Put a comment down there. Make sure you guys like whatever type of comments that you see that you guys really want to see more of. We 100% shoot it. We go through all the comments and we always try to make sure that we're able to shoot that type of content that you guys are looking for.
That's it. You know what it is. See you again next time. Peace.